Urban Therapy with Sun 752, and this your daily go getter, Mr. number 699 for September 1st, 2016. First day of September. We on our way to the fall, baby. It's going down. But anyway, tonight, I want to talk to y'all about the street code versus the family code. Is there a difference between the way that you play in the streets and the way that you deal with your family? Well, I mean, the obvious answer, or the answer that we would come up with without having to think about it, is yes, there's a difference. There are big differences. For one thing, the way that you're raised within your family should keep you out of the streets. It shouldn't put you out there in the streets. Because, to be honest with you, the streets are a dangerous place. It's a place that will consume you and eventually collect what's owed to them. That's what I'm talking about when I say the streets. The streets will collect on what's owed to it. You can't beat the streets. So far, nobody has ever beat the streets. It's not a place where people retire to old age, or retire or die of old age. It's rough out there. It's violent. There's money involved, and there are people out there living that street life. So there are going to be drugs involved. There are going to be, people who are transient. There's going to be theft. There's going to be people who will do anything for certain opportunities. And it's a rough way of living. But a lot of people are attracted to it, particularly our youth. So when we start talking about the street code versus the family code, first of all, you have to define what your family code might be, because everybody's family code is not the same. For example, my family code may be love and affection, unity, helping each other out, being there for each other physically, emotionally, mentally, picking each other up when one of us is falling down, filling in the blanks, or making the soil even when somebody digs a hole for themselves or has one hole dug for them, So that's actually one of the areas where the street code and the family code have something in common. In the streets, people who live on the streets, or live their life in the streets, I should say, they have a street code, and it's definitely based on loyalty. Loyalty is paramount in the streets. It's going to be hard for you to make it out there if you're wishy-washy when it comes to the streets. Like, if you try to play both sides of the fence, the streets are going to get you. You have to show loyalty when it comes to the streets. Because in the streets, that is the place where people take things very, very seriously and personally. So if you disrespect somebody out in the streets, loud talk somebody out in the streets, embarrass somebody out there in the streets, they're not going to handle it in a rational, calm manner. More than likely, they're going to try to do things to end your life and pay the streets its debt. But when you start talking about gang warfare, not necessarily warfare, but gangs. And it is warfare to a certain extent, because when you have rival gangs, they're not just trying to beat you in a game of basketball, pool, swimming, football, baseball. They're trying to beat you, defeat you as far as your finances are concerned, as far as territory is concerned, as far as membership is concerned. So basically, they are trying to take you out in your life. That's how gang warfare works. That's one of the reasons why it's not attractive to everybody. But see, when you start talking about the code of the streets and you start talking about the code of the family, if you don't have a strong bond with your family, if y'all don't have a strong educational and loving bond along, for each other, I should say, then what's going to happen is that it's going to push you out there into the street family. So those gangs and people that you meet out there on the streets that don't share your bloodline will become your family, because your home life is not a good life. That's not a life where people were attentive to you. That's not a life where people made you feel at home. That's not a life where people showed love to you. So although the love that gangsters show each other is basically a street code sort of love, there is a feeling of belonging that's attached to it, unity like crazy, and loyalty first and foremost. You don't snitch on your street family. No snitching. No matter what they do, you don't go running your mouth. It might not be that way with your home family. However, most home families insist on that too. You don't just go out there telling your family business. It don't work that way. You don't do that. You know, there's some things that you can share with other people who are close to your family, but you still have to be careful about that. But outsiders and strangers, you keep your mouth shut about your family business. It's the same way as the streets. So there are some things that the streets or the code of the streets and the code of the family have in common. Unity, loyalty, yeah. No snitching, yeah. It's paramount. It's not negotiable. These are things that you don't do. So when you hear somebody say that their family has disowned them, that means they have dishonored their family to the point where family members don't consider you to be one of them or a part of them anymore. That doesn't happen as frequently as it would out there in the streets. Like one infraction, one mistake, one bad decision can get you kicked out of your street family. To the point where, okay, in your home family, your blood family, you may mess up with them. Let's say you're on drugs or something like that. You steal from your family members. You conniving. You've done all kinds of crazy stuff to drive them crazy. And they may have disowned you, but they understood that you were in your sickness. You go to rehab or get yourself clean in some kind of way, and your blood family more than likely will let you back in. That won't happen out in the streets. Out in the streets, one mistake can be your fatal mistake. One bad decision out there in the streets can be the difference between you walking the streets and you being buried under the streets or whatever. I wish it was the case where people came from families, most people came from families that kept them out of the streets. In my opinion, it would be a beautiful world if we had inner cities that didn't have streets that consume the people that play in them. But in the real world, that's exactly what we have to deal with. So we deal with it. How can you keep your kids out of the streets? How can you keep them from being attracted to the street life? You may not be able to stop them from being attracted to the street life. But like I was saying in the video the other day, there are things that you can do to make the street life uncomfortable for them, to the point where even if they wanted to fit in, they just don't fit in. And that's education and exposing them to things that people out there on the streets haven't been exposed to. I've said it once and I'll say it again. It's hard to make it out there on the streets if you have a decent education and if you have been exposed to things culturally, environmentally, education-wise. It makes it hard to go out there and stand on the corner or be hustling hand to hand or whatever you do, because you know that you have the potential to do something better. So if we can get our kids involved in certain things, not just things that we like, but definitely tailor activities for them, tailor things to their personality, to their strengths, to their skills, to their attractions and their desires. Try it out. For people who've been out there on the streets for years, telling them to come in from the streets is almost like talking to a brick wall. But just plant the seed in it. It'll grow. It'll get some light from somewhere. It'll rain. And hopefully they make it back home before the streets consume them. Street life, street code. Family life, family code. Neither one of them are perfect. But they're normally good for the individual for that time. Well, no. Family is, if you're family oriented people, family is always good for you. But those streets, Anyway, good things happen to those who wait. Great things happen to those who grind. And anything can happen to those who go for theirs. So go hard, go for yours. And remember, whether it's the streets or whether it's the home, well, the home life can lead you to a street life if your home life isn't attended to your needs, your strengths, your skills, your attractions, your loves. If there isn't any love in the home, gangs will find their way into your heart. Because everybody wants to belong. I'm not saying that everybody wants to be a gangster, but everybody wants to go places where they feel like they are wanted, where they belong, where they are loved, where they are appreciated. Where everybody knows your name. Doom, 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 doom. And they're always glad you came. Anyway. We want to go where people know troubles are all the same. You want to go where everybody knows your name. UrbanTherapyWithSon.com. Go to the website. Get down with the website. The movement is moving fast. It's moving in the right direction. We want you to move right with it. UrbanTherapyWithSon.com. Make sure y'all get with that. And the Daily Go Getimism Show, the radio show, internet radio show, every single day. Every single day. We are all the way up to episode 702. We have gone 702 days straight. October 1st will be our 2-year anniversary. Never missed a day. Holidays, birthdays, no matter what. Get down with the Daily Go Getimism Show, man. We ain't playing. This thing is going in the right direction, straight up and down. And we want y'all to be with it. Yeah, I mean, you like what we doing? Share these videos. Do me a favor. Yeah, definitely share these videos. I need that. I'll holler at y'all later. Y'all have a great night. Go watch this Eagles game, yo. Peace.